Hi, I'm Manish Tiwari. I'm the CISO for Bharti Airtel.
Manish, can you walk us through some of your top cybersecurity initiatives over the next 18 to 24 months?
Sure. Uh, Actually, the journey starts a little earlier. So I've spent slightly over 2 years in Bharti Airtel, and one of the first things that I set about doing, and mind you, I have a brilliant team. I have a great team. Was to see how we can transform IT security operations. It was earlier handled by an outsourced agency. So the first and foremost thing was that we need to take control. I mean, we need to insource it, and we need to define our own path towards, transforming our own IT security operations, and that is what we did. And very proud to share with you that 70% of our security operations internally in Bharti Airtel around the SIM part is automated, even up to the incident response level. And the advantage that has given to us is optimization and a huge amount of efficiency that we have brought into our day-to-day operations of our security team, and that leaves the security team to focus more on incident analysis, doing the root cause assessment, taking corrective measures, and things which would truly be defined as more technically challenging rather than running behind day-to-day, I would say more of transactional issues. And that is something that we have managed to do in the last 1.5 years. Going forward, I'm sure you will appreciate cybersecurity is always a moving target. It's a journey, it's not a destination. Cyber threats are evolving, so is the IT environment.
Sure.
So every organization, as it continuously moves forward with respect to IT and IT technology, it adopts new technologies, it upgrades its infrastructure, the infrastructure increases in size. That also increases the surface area of attack for from a cyber threat perspective.
Sure.
And hence, risk management is a constant exercise.
Sure.
And you have to keep evolving.
Sure.
So when you're evolving, you also have to figure out how do you take cybersecurity to the next level.
Sure.
How do you bring in better technologies? So there comes a time where you feel that probably this particular technology has outlived its usefulness, and you need to move on to something which is more next gen. And that is something that we are doing.
Sure.
So whilst yes, it's akin to painting a moving car, but I guess that's the nature of the job.
Sure.
And that is something that we are doing. So over the next, I would say, next 2 years, we're looking at how do we improve our internal processes, how do we reduce the surface area of attack, how do we bring more awareness amongst employees on cyber threats, how do we bring about more security controls without really impinging on the open culture that you need in an organization to thrive, or
Sure.
innovation to thrive. You do not want employees, because employees, 99.9% of the employees use IT as a tool. They couldn't care less otherwise. So how do you enable your employees, and yet keep them safe by bringing in better and better technologies, bring in more of threat intelligence, bring in more of the whole AI
Sure.
angle to it, so that you're able to correlate information better.
Sure.
It's about taking proactively taking action faster, probably at times preventing an attack in real time, and doing all this without really diluting the open culture that you wish, and and the friendly environment you want your employees to actually have.
Sure.
So I guess that is what
Cool.
that is what is
Right. Thank you for that.
what we do.
Yeah. So Manish, security is a bit like insurance in the sense that it's very easy to overlook the value of it till you have an incident,
Yeah.
right? Security budgets don't necessarily impact the top line, right? So what strategies do you personally adopt to convey the message to your CEO, to your board, when you're looking for their support in terms of resources, budgetary support, and things like that?
So we have to accept one thing, that in this world, resources are finite, and for any organization, there would be a certain amount of resources which are allocated based on whatever multiple parameters, and you'll have various organizations or various verticals within the same company which are asking for more for whatever for various reasons. So I think the first and foremost thing is that you have to stop thinking for yourself as a vertical. You have to think for the company. Eventually you have to think for the company. What's right for the company? Now, in the context of what you feel is right for the company, you have to decide what is it in cybersecurity and risk management vertical that would fit ideally. And if you follow that approach, then you are able to give a much more convincing, present a much more convincing case to the management that this is absolutely essential for the organization, and this is for absolutely critical for the company.
Sure.
The whole journey or the process of convincing and actually getting support from the board starts from the basic principle that you have to start thinking for the company first and not think for your own vertical, because it's not about empire building. It's about thinking for the organization and what's really important for the organization. And if you follow that logic, then you're able to make a far more convincing. You yourself would have a higher sense of conviction that, look, this is what is right for the company. And then of course it has to be backed by you have to communicate in the appropriate manner. It has to be done in a manner where the aim is not to scare. The aim is not to present a doomsday scenario and give a Boolean choice of 1 is to 0. I think the whole point is to present it in a manner where it is objective, it is jargon free, the impact of that is very clearly articulated, and so is the cost, and that really works in most of the cases.
Sure. So let's have your fun take on this next question. So you just bumped into the CEO of your company in the elevator, and he just asked you, Manish, are we 100% secure? Are you sure? So what would you tell him?
So I think it may be a casual conversation, but what your CEO in true essence and in reality is seeking from you is to get a sense of assurance. So I think the whole point is to give him a sense of assurance that we are doing whatever it takes and is necessary to protect the organization, both internally as well as from external forces. Risk management is a continuous exercise. So I think the appropriate answer would be that yes, in my opinion, and considering the effort that we are putting in and the resources that we have deployed, I feel yes, we are secure. Can it be is there something known as 100% security? No. But God forbid, if there is an incident, then we are also geared up to take very clear and definitive action to mitigate or to ensure that that it is addressed at the earliest with the least amount of damage. And also the fact that various entities within the organization, outside even cybersecurity, it could be legal, it could be corporate communications, they're all aligned so as to ensure that if at all such an incident happens, it is handled in absolutely the most appropriate manner, transparently. And that he would be the first person to know.
In general, there's definitely a lack of qualified cybersecurity professional because it is a very complex world.
True.
Now, one way organizations are dealing with this is enabling security trainings, more exposure, and things like that. What are you focused in your organization to really increase the general capability of your team in terms of cybersecurity?
That's a wonderful question, and we spend a lot of time and effort, in giving every possible opportunity to our team members where they can upgrade their skill sets. I think it's very, very important. Whilst I'm sure you appreciate the way the industry functions is that industry does lateral hiring, but we also take freshers. In fact, that's another thing that I started after joining Airtel is we started an internship program, which wasn't there earlier, at least in IT security. And we took a large number of interns, and at the end of the internship, there were a couple of them who did brilliantly well. And we gave them, offered them jobs on the spot. So they had jobs even before they joined Airtel. This is in their final year. We hire senior people in the team, ranging from anywhere from 5 years, 7 years, 8 years, or even 14, 15 years of experience. But learning is a process that never stops. And we take pride in giving every possible opportunity to our team members to upgrade their skill sets, either through trainings that we arrange in-house, or at times training, certification trainings that we support and encourage our team members to go out and get. You will appreciate that eventually this whole process is also about mentoring the youngsters and pushing them in the right direction. That is also something that I basically, I try to push as much as I can, wherein the whole aim is to guide the younger lot so that they have a clear sense of direction, which on the basis of which they can at least plan their next 4 to 5 years journey. Probably planning anything beyond that would be a little too presumptuous, I guess, in today's world. But at least the next 4 to 5 years journey, they should have a fairly clear roadmap. And I personally take a lot of interest in ensuring that those members of my team have every possible opportunity to get that clarity. And yes, we do that.
Sure. Yeah. Just changing gears a little bit and talking about what would you recommend to cybersecurity vendors in general, right? Where should they focus? How should they continue to be of value to organizations like you?
So, I'm not sure you're aware, I actually drive 2 verticals. The entire internal security operations, as well as the compliance and continuity and compliance. These are 2 sub-verticals. They report to me. They are my responsibility. In addition to that, the enterprise arm of Bharti Airtel, which is the Airtel Business, has a new element called Airtel Secure for Business, which looks at taking cybersecurity products and services to the enterprise segment. So the business head there and the entire team also reports to me. So I have a business responsibility as well reporting to me.
Sure.
So you're, answering your question now. So I think you'll be able to understand when I say what I say is that CISOs today, or rather the cybersecurity teams in various organizations, what they're not looking for products anymore. We're not looking for products, we're looking for solutions. So we want that OEMs, when they approach customers, they do so with a solutions mindset. In fact, this is when setting up this new line of business, as a CISO, I was very, very particular that we should set up something with a bit of difference. And hence, we should just say, for the sake of business, we should not be trying to fit a round peg in a square, in a square opening. Because eventually it doesn't work. It doesn't really solve the problem. You really want to solve the problem of the organization to whom you're taking the business to. And that is what I want. So go with the solutions mindset. Don't go with a product mindset. Now, easier said than done. You have a large number of companies which eventually do have products. So when they position their products, and in most cases they position their products through partners like us, where, as I said, I'm a consumer, but I also go to market, trying to sell these. I think it's important that we use these products as building blocks in a solution rather than simply trying to go and offer it as a product. Now it's unlikely that in most of the cases it's not going to be a greenfield project. So what you really have to do is basically study the customer's environment and first figure out what is it that the customer needs, and be ready to advise the customer that perhaps what you're, based on this, or based on your environment, what probably you need is this and not that. So I think it's about doing justice and being transparent with the customer, trying to solve their problem. Believe me, if you solve somebody's problems, you will go far longer in doing business with them.
Sure.
And I think that is the basic fundamental requirement that at least people of in the C level like me who are looking for.
Sure. So Manish, I have heard that CISOs as a business leader probably get very less sleep. Now, is that true? And if it is, what do you think keeps you and your peers up at night?
Yes and no. So it is not just responsibility, it's accountability as well. So you can outsource things to your to people and folks and team or your partners, but eventually you're accountable. Now, does it keep you awake? Well, I don't think that would be the right thing to say, because if a CISO doesn't get his 7 hours of sleep, then beyond a certain point he would be absolutely left incapable to handle the pressures of such work. So I think getting a certain amount, may not be 7 hours, maybe only 5 or 5.5 or 6 hours, but that sleep should be sleep, because otherwise you won't last. And there will always be incidents, there will always be issues, interruptions or problems in the ecosystem, and you have to be mentally alert in order to be able to handle that. So I guess CISOs should get their whatever minimum sleep works for them.
So last question, Manish. What does the CISO of one of India's most reputed brands do in a free time? How do you relax? What do you do over the weekend? Tell us a little, give us a glimpse of your personal life.
So I read a lot. I try basically picking up a book once in a while. If I'm traveling, I pick up a book from the store at the airport. Otherwise, I don't really get much time. And since I don't get much time, then probably one of the best ways is to pick up a book, select a book and order it online. At least it works. So reading is something which I do. I go for long walks, spend time with my family as much as I can, and generally that is what I do over weekends.
Cool. Well, that's about it. We'll kind of keep it at that. So this was lovely, Manish.